So I attribute this whole conversation about not being creative or being creative to my fish tank drawing when I was in second grade. And I thought I was going to win and I didn't win. And I think that set my whole life trajectory on like, I'm quitting. I'm not going to be an artist. I suck at it and all of that. So we were talking about people who say they're not creative.
Right.
And then why that's so ridiculous. Right. And
Right.
that's
It
in the
is.
book. What chapter is that in the book? We talk about creators versus consumers.
Yeah. And I kind of blame that all on YouTube, really, because that's really the biggest driver.
Oh, yeah.
That turned everyone into like, oh, I'm a YouTuber, I'm a creator. And then the rest of us are just like poor consumers, like we're second-class citizens that just, stare at the screen and consume the wonderful stuff that these brave have created, right? And it's just not true, because we are like, cooking dinner is creation.
Everything we do, right? Picking out what we're wearing in the morning.
Yeah, writing that text, that sending an apology to somebody, sending a happy birthday, picking a gift. These are all acts of creation.
And
having children is creation, right? I mean,
yeah.
Family is creation. Relationships are creation. Everything is creation. And so the downside is when you tell yourself again and again, I'm not creative.
Yeah.
Guess what?
And I've had
believes it.
Multiple people, even people that are professional, what you would consider like, wow, what's going on?
Yeah.
What you would consider a professional artist that actually has art in shows, still saying they're not creative. And they would come into my card deck course and they'd be like, I'm not creative. And they'd be, I literally had this one woman and she was just using little stick art from Canva. And I'm like, well, where is your artwork? And she said, oh, I should use that. And she did not, she didn't make the connection. And it was like so wild to me. But we go so long in our life, like putting a label on our head of what we're not.
But like, I've heard so many stories. I think any artist who actually says they're an artist has a coming out story, right? There is the day they first told somebody, whether it's their mom, the dog, the world, whatever, right? I'm an artist. It's a brave moment.
Well, yeah, because you put your bar high and people might judge you and say, well, no, you're not, compared to this, or compare you to somebody that is an artist, right? Like Leonardo or something, or Michelangelo. But when we don't own it, though, we're really missing a lot when we stop ourselves short. Really,
it's
playing.
Like it's so funny. I consider myself highly creative, but I don't consider myself artistic, which is probably not true.
No, that's definitely not true.
Right. And then when I went, it's the story in the book. I went to the College of Extraordinary Experiences, the theatrical ones, and I felt incredibly uncreative, untalented,
around that many talented people.
Well, because they're all willing and able to burst into song and dance at any moment. Like, it was like being on the set with Mary Poppins, like, where's the next song coming from? You can just feel it.
Yeah.
And it's all relative to who you surround yourself with. But creation is this, I love, there's this expression, ex nihilo, out of nothing. Like that, when there was nothing and now there's something, that is creation.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
Well, if you take your judgment out of it, like, like, because we put our own judgment in, which stops us, like, oh, well, I'm not that good at this. So like, I mean, and that puts that, like, we won't go further, which doing this project with you has really taught me a lot, because I think the first thing was when you had said, and this was my first real, like, no, I'm going to just declare this, because I've been working on this for a while, of like calling myself, an artist and all of that.
Right.
And when you said, well, neither one of us are artists, I'm like, no, I'm not going in that direction with you. So you are like a super artist. And I don't think that you ever really say that, but you're like the most creative, like, insane.
Well, I'm super able to stand up and say I'm super creative, but it's so funny because if I throw in the word artistic, or then
Mhm.
I withdraw from, because I'm like, well, I know where where my talents lie, and I don't think of myself in that way, right?
Right.
Because like these two hands can do magical things on computers, but actually then it's, when I think about it, I do paint, right? I
Right.
do,
That's what I
I've done
mean.
it.
Right.
I've got acrylics. I've made some phenomenal coffee cups, and I've made um, the most amazing Harry Potter um, teapot. So it's got a sorting hat lid to the
Oh my God.
pot.
Yeah.
Maybe I am creative, right? It's just
Right. Well,
it's
it's kind of a deadly thing to do to yourself though, because
right.
it stops you, because then you're like, well, I know
And
I won't paint, but maybe if you
right,
said, well, I am an artist, let me, if just played with it for a minute and you went out there and you did
right.
something that, I
And
mean, there are,
I remember I went to a whole bunch of like uh painting classes just to get into that feeling.
yeah,
And
me
like
too. Yeah.
once I got there, once I started, it felt good. It was like it was flowing, and I filled the book up. It was
Right.
like, okay,
And
just
I
keep
think we're
painting,
all
right?
capable. We're all capable of
Yeah.
that. And just to
Well,
kind of consider yourself in a different way and see what's possible for yourself.
we are, but different. Each of us differently have buried it more deeply. It's been beaten
Yeah.
out of us. Some of us, it's been beaten out of us more. Like,
Right.
you know, if you really strongly think you're not, it's because when you were 3 or 4 or 5 or 6, you
You
were,
didn't
right?
win the competition. You didn't win the fish tank. My fish. I still have a picture of that. And I'm like, wow.
Yeah.
But I traced it back to that moment of when I decided that this is what I wasn't,
Oh,
because
I
it would
did.
bother me a lot.
There was a
Yeah.
girl at kindergarten that came to like Christmas time, and there was a particular wall collage. We got to like take one home, and she decided she wanted the one I wanted, and she just bit me. And I was like,
Oh God.
"That's great." She literally like, ah,
Wow.
and I was like, "Gosh, okay, interesting." I don't know.
That's
It would be funny to meet her tomorrow, like somewhere in the world, like, oh, that was me. I'm really sorry I bit you.
Imagine. Oh my God. Imagine. But yeah, so
Yeah,
we're creating all the time. And like, so
right,
even if you don't want to go and paint, do it with step yourself up a little bit in like the food you're preparing or the clothes you're wearing or something, to
right.
like say, to
Or
be a little extra edgy, a little
give
extra
you
push into the, like,
give
you
just
know,
give yourself credit that cooking is creation, right?
and you do it
That
every day, multiple times.
right, right.
Right.
Or maybe your thing is just telling a joke. There's a thing you do. There's an impression that you do, or you know,
Yeah.
we all have different things that make up who we are, and you
Right.
just don't use the word, oh, that joke you told
Right.
was creative, right?
Yeah.
We choose to say, and I don't know. I
It's
find
like a
it's
permission.
just
It's like
fascinating.
permission, don't you
Yeah,
think?
totally.
Because
Yeah,
if you
totally.
give yourself that permission, like, where am I creative? Where do I enjoy it? And where can I just be like a little bit push into it a little bit more today?
And
And I think that's,
you just got to do some reps, right? If you can't do sit-ups and you ask you to do 100, you're not going to do them, right? But if you do 5 and then 6 and 7 and suddenly 10,
that's
50,
it.
20, 30,
Yeah.
40, 100, right?
Yeah.
It's the same thing. You have your artistic nature is a muscle. Your creative spirit is being beaten down. So you need to like, hey, it's okay. Come out and
Yeah.
play. No
Yeah. So let
judgment
us
here.
know,
Yeah.
where are you going to expand your creative self? Let us know what you're working on and how you can push a little more into your really creative spirit coming out and playing. All right. We'll be
It's the
back
way to go.
tomorrow. Ciao for now.